Zane, where are you at right now? Both your parents are here right now at home with me, and they said they won't be going home until you get here. So could you please come back and tell them to go home for me?
What? Then just let them both stay there with you.
Not gonna happen. Those two are far too much for me to deal with for more than a few hours. Just a second ago, I took some cookies that I had made earlier for them out so that they could have something to eat, and they took all of them and smashed them on the kitchen floor. They also spilled all of the coffee I made for them out onto the floor. All they keep doing is complaining about what I do, and it's starting to drive me up the wall.
How about you just deal with all of that? They're both my parents, and you're my wife, so you figure out what to do in order to make them happy.
You're being irrational right now. Now hurry up and come back here.
All your whining is driving me nuts. Are you really in the place to be whining to me like that? No, you're not, right? I happen to be a CEO, and I'm the one taking care of you now. In other words, I'm amazing. Where are you living at right now? You're living at my house now, right?
I get that, but...
I have no idea why you still exist right now as my housewife if all you're gonna do is whine for my help. There's no value in you. Perhaps I got married to trash?
There's no way you're saying that about me right now. And the only reason I ever became a housewife is because that's what you asked me to do, Zane. I told you plenty of times that I wanted to keep working, but every time you told me no. And not only you, but your parents as well told me no to that.
Stop talking back to me, you ugly woman. Oh, and by the way, pretty soon here my parents are going to be living with us for good.
What?
I know that before I said I wouldn't let my parents come and live with us before getting married, but that was a lie. So go and start cleaning their rooms up for them to sleep in. And if you can't do that for me soon, I'm not forgiving you. Having the trash go around cleaning up trash is such a hilarious thing to do.
Marley, in a little bit here, I'll be coming back to the States. What would you like me to pick you up as a souvenir? Faye! Oh, you don't have to pick me anything up from there. Hey, come on. You're always having to take care of my crappy little brother, so consider this a reward for doing so. Are you coming home with your husband? Yes. He finished up all of his work out here and is heading back to the States as well with me. Now, how have those idiots been? They haven't been treating you too badly, right? Let's just say I've been at my limits with them sometimes. I'm really sorry about them. The fact that your parents and mine chose to force you both to get married really is like something from the past. But my father's factory has been a major customer of Zane's company, so it all kind of makes sense. And about all of that, I don't think you're going to need to care about it anymore really soon here. What? Are you sure about that? I am. Which means after I'm back, you are more than welcome to give up on my family and leave. In my case, I've really regretted never being around long enough to help you out with them. That's why this time, once I'm back home, I ask that you use me however you need to. Alright? Thank you so much for your help. Then, I guess I will use you for some things.
Hey, ugly woman, you did your job and finished up all the cleaning and chores inside the house, right?
I told you before that I do not want to live together with your parents, right?
You really are such a selfish jerk, aren't you? It's way too late for you to be saying that to me now. You think you have any say in what my family does now? For a slave, you really are a mouthy one.
For a slave? I have no idea what you're talking about right now, Zane.
The only thing a housewife ever does is make the food, clean the house, and do the laundry, right? In other words, you're like my family's slave, and as your master, you should be doing everything that I say without question, right? Are you really that stupid?
How disgusting.
Doesn't matter what you think anyway, because all of my parents' things are on the way there now and will be arriving pretty soon. This time, I'm gonna forgive you for being such a rude dog. I really am such a kind man, aren't I? And as for the room you've been using, it's gonna become my mom's room now. You can go sleep in the closet from now on, all right? Be thankful that you even have a floor to still sleep on, slave.
Ugh, all right then. I'll clean up my room for her.
How obedient of you! Had you been acting like that from the start for me, everything would be so much less stressful. Seems that you finally started to turn into a good wife for me, huh? Well, I'll leave all of that stuff up to you now.
If you start to regret your actions, I won't be around wiping away your tears.
Huh? What are you talking about? For someone that I'm allowing to live in my house right now, what kind of a behavior is that? Hello? Where's your answer at? Can you even hear me anymore? Are you on your period or something now? Hey, you freaking bitch! Where the hell are you right now? Hey! Answer your damn phone right now, bitch! You went and said something to my older sister, didn't you? And that's why things have turned into this freaking mess now. When you get back here, I'll make you rethink ever talking to her. I'll be slapping the hell out of you until you can no longer see out of your eyes.
I'm going to perceive what you just said to me as a threat, okay?
As my slave, what the hell do you think you're doing right now? You explain everything to me this instant.
Wouldn't it be faster for you to ask your older sister about what's happened? I'm sure that she'd love to talk to you. After all, it was her that had you all moved out of there.
About her?
When I married you, you were already living in that house. However, I never knew that the place wasn't yours and that you were tasked with just taking care of it while someone else has been away. And that someone happens to be Faye, right? Because that house you and I had been in is hers. You had just been borrowing it from her, right? So when she decided that it was time to have her house demolished, the only choice you have now is to leave her house.
Why are you talking about all of that now? I knew what she was saying to me was because of you.
I don't have any clue what you're talking about. That house happens to be Faye's, and when it comes to what she wants to do with it, that is up to her, right? You started out by acting all arrogant by saying that house was yours and has always been yours when I was around. But in reality, even though you're the CEO of your own company, you can't afford to buy your own house.
That's because a house as large and as modern as this one is. And even though I'm a CEO, I'm only in charge of a very small company. There's no way someone like myself would ever be able to buy such a massive house like hers.
So you're finally going to open up to me about that? Probably due to all the shame you're feeling now.
Huh? Are you in any position to be saying something about someone besides yourself, especially when all you are is a housewife?
I've managed to buy my own house before.
What?
The house that my parents are both living in right now was the house I bought. And the name on that house is mine. When you and I had to get married, I chose to lend the house to them to stay in. Before I was forced by you and your parents to leave my job, I was like Faye, working as a self-employed freelancer. But before long, my dad's father came crying to me asking for my help in order to keep his factory from being taken over. I was left with no other choice but to leave my home that I had just bought and marry a man like you. Although I have to say, you're a lot worse than I first imagined you could be. Man, I'd really love to go back to working as a consultant again.
I don't care about all of that.
And the thing about you is even though you say your business is very small, I don't find that a good enough reason for why you can't afford your own house. There has to be another reason behind you not having the money, right? Could it be that you're having to pay off your own debt?
What?
Right on the mark, huh? Anyway, how about you start looking for a new place to go live? And you have to start thinking about all of the things your parents just sent over. I'm sure having to manage all of their things during the move out is going to be tough for you, but try your best to get out before being bulldozed.
Hey, where the hell are you right now? You get your ass back to this house right now.
No thanks. I have no idea what you could possibly want to do to me back there, especially after that threat you were just making to me. Good luck dealing with all of that crap on your own now.
Hey, Faye. Do you really want to see Mom, Dad, and I struggle so badly that you take things this far? Are you having fun doing all of this to us? Is this your idea of getting revenge for what happened, huh?
What kind of disgusting creep has crawled back to me? Am I really related to something as vulgar as this slug? Scary.
Shut the hell up! I'm asking you if you're wanting to make us all go through hell here!
You're the ones that chose a path that would lead you all into hell, right? Consider this the three of you getting exactly what was coming for you, alright?
Shut your goddamn mouth! Do you think you're smart for doing something like this to me? I happen to be a company CEO, alright? I got this company from Uncle Stan and have become an amazing CEO!
You were not given that company. It was passed on to you after Uncle Stan passed away and there was nobody else wanting to take it. Well, I shouldn't say nobody, as some of the company's employees wanted to, however, someone had another idea. Someone decided it would be better to threaten those employees in order to get that position. Then, that's when you heard about a customer the company had been involved with and how it was one of the major factories in town, right? And you were trying to take it away from the family who owned it, right?
How dare you talk to me like you know anything when all you did was leave the house right after graduating high school?
Does that have anything to do with what I'm talking about? Anything at all? If you think you can catch me off guard by changing to a topic like that, then you're hopeless.
Excuse me? I am not hopeless. Now you stop playing around with me right now and listen to what I have to say.
No thanks. Back to what I was saying. Do you not feel bad at all for what you've done and said to Marley? Due to your crappy character, the moment you would ever make a girlfriend, they would leave you or ghost you, knowing damn well you were no good. So in order to get yourself a woman that you could marry, you went to that family who owned that factory and made a deal with them that would save their factory and allow you to take their daughter, right?
That was one of my best strategies right there!
Excuse me? What you've done is pathetic on so many levels. And the fact that your parents were okay with that makes them complete dog crap. And because you were afraid of what I'd have to say about you doing that, you all blocked me while I was overseas, right? Absolute filth, all three of you assholes are. I hear that both of Marley's parents feel guilty now for what they'd done to her, and I don't blame them. After what they put her through, I wouldn't be surprised if she left them for dead. I mean, she just had to go through hell with you and your parents, all because you are less than human, and seem to think you can do whatever you want with women. But that's no longer going to happen now that she's free from your grasp. And I'm here now to finish you off.
What? What the hell do you mean by that?
I've learned that the factory that both of Marley's parents run no longer needs to maintain a contract with your company anymore.
What?
I had been looking for a long time, trying to find if there were other companies out there that would be willing to work with their factory, and I finally found some. It turns out the products that Marley's parents' factory creates are very much needed by other companies. They all happen to be very large companies, especially the first one I found, and would be far better groups to work with than your small little business. Just a few weeks ago, they started their first line of products for that main company, and it turns out that the company loved what they produced for them, and now a contract has been made. So in terms of your company, a business is no longer needed.
What? Huh?
So if you were going to try and threaten ending that contract, it's no use now. Marley's parents no longer need you.
What the hell are you doing getting in the way of my plan? Go and screw yourself, you freaking hag! I see now. That's what allowed for Marley to get the confidence to just leave me like she did. You've really gone and done the most useless thing now to me.
Thank you so much for the praise, but I'm not at all happy about it. At least Marley no longer needs to put up with your guys' crap, and we don't need to worry about whatever the hell you three go through. Because that's what you all frickin' deserve.
Crap!
But before you've delved completely into hell, you probably won't be the CEO of that company anymore.
What? Well, what are you talking about?
Well, ever since you took charge of that company, plenty have noticed how little you guys are beating your margins by. And soon, all of your company's shareholders will no longer enjoy having you as the CEO of the company. Back when Uncle Stan was still around, I always loved going with him into work there. And sometimes he'd take me to his shareholder meetings where I'd get to learn about all kinds of stuff from them. And what I learned most of all is that when the shareholders are upset, they go for the CEO first. I heard that at their last meeting talking about you and the company, they decided on having you removed from your position.
Huh? What are you talking about right now?
How wonderful, right? Both Mom and Dad wanted to stop working, so they both went into retirement earlier than most people. And since I was the only person left around that the shareholders could openly trust, they understood what I explained to them with no questions asked. They no longer want you going into work anymore. So you can stop going there and make Uncle Stan's company look like a joke. You no longer have any allies around you.
You're lying! You have to be freaking lying! You're just making up those lies in order to try and scare me off, right?
Someone embezzling money from the company has no right whining like that about lying.
What? What?
After a little bit of investigating, I knew what was going on. When an idiot gets to work doing the illegal, there is usually a large mess left in their wake that's easy to follow. It's because of what you've been up to that you hadn't had any money and had to borrow my place. How awful it must be to be some kind of money-wasting person like yourself.
Everything. You know everything about all of the things that I've done. This is why I've always hated your guts ever since we were kids. You're nothing but a nosy bitch. And that's how you've always been able to act like you can look down on me like you're someone special.
Good work taking all that time to think of yourself as the victim here. But don't go around saying that to everyone, because someone here has been talking a lot of crap to a poor girl that I know. That poor girl being me, because you've always had both Mom and Dad behind you, always treating me like I'm worthless, right? I guess that's what happens when our parents only ever wanted a boy and couldn't have cared less about what you did and said to me. How unsightly. Now, you figure the rest out on your own, all right? Bye-bye.
Hey, Marley! Where the hell are you at right now? Hey! Reply to me right now! You and I are still married, aren't we?
Not really, considering I want to get a divorce from you now. And as of right now, I'm working on all of the paperwork so that I can do just that.
Huh? What do you think you're doing all of that without my permission? Are you really going to abandon your own husband now?
Sure am. There is no point in us being married to one another anymore, so...
Why the hell are you acting so distant from me now? Stop trying to act like we're strangers now.
But we're about to be, and even now you feel like one to me.
I will not allow that. If you go and stab me in the back now too, I will not forgive you.
You think I really care what you think of me anymore? I got a call from my parents, all right. They were both apologizing to me so much that I grew tired of hearing their voices. But the main thing I got out of talking with them is that they no longer need to work with your company anymore. They were helped in finding plenty of new companies to work with now and will no longer be working with a smaller company like yours. Faye's really cool hooking all of those massive companies up with my parents' products.
Did you ask for her to do that? And that's why things have ended up like this now?
Don't you start acting like you're the victim in all of this, Zane. She told me that she wanted to help me in any way possible, so I asked for her help with divorcing you. You having to lose that house of yours and you having to lose your position as the CEO of that company are not my problem and have nothing at all to do with me.
That's not true at all. You go and talk with my sister right now about all of this and make sure she takes back everything she said she'd do.
There's no way to take things back that have already been put into motion. For example, all of those horrible things you did in the past to us.
Jeez, I get it already. I get it. You want me to take responsibility for all the bad things I've done, right? I can do that. Then will you be happy with me? I can even start to treat you like a bit more of a person from now on, even if you're still a mess. Look at that, I'm being nice now, right? And it's not like either of my parents have ever really hated you any. Please understand that for me. So please, let's go back to being in good spirits with one another. I get that you happen to have a pretty stubborn side to yourself, and from now on I'll forgive you for that and still love you the way I should have been.
Huh? Frickin' gross.
What?
Stop trying to conclude all of this for me without my opinion. I'm not going to try and talk Faye out of what she's doing. And I am most definitely going to get a divorce from you. Having to be a housewife to such a frickin' dick of a husband was so very, very, very bad for my mental state that I almost broke down on hundreds of occasions.
And I'm not going to allow you to divorce me. Stop trying to take over our marriage like that. You are my wife of all people. When I'm in a pinch like this, it's your job to come and help me out of it. Go and talk with your father as well. Tell him to stop thinking about ending that contract with me and ruining your husband's life.
I have no reason to do any of that for you. If anything, I'm going to thank my parents when all of this is over. And I'm going to be suing you. Both you and your parents will be going to court to face me.
You're suing us for doing what?
Stop trying to play dumb with me now, you jackass. Every single day, the three of you would harass me and would call me a slave while also treating me like one. Anytime one of you wouldn't like my cooking, instead of saying so like an adult, you'd throw it on the ground and make me clean it up. You guys would all go into my room when I wasn't around and take things like my brand bags and clothing and sell them to make some quick cash. And in the middle of the night, when you were looking for someone to help you get off, you'd come and start doing me without my consent before I could even get out of bed.
Hey!
Whenever one of you would get frustrated, you'd take the closest thing to you and chuck it at me. And the last time that happened, your bitch of a mom took her coffee and threw it at my face with freshly poured coffee in it that burnt my face. Man, oh man. When all of those things would happen, I just wanted to go to my parents and tell them to throw their whole factory away so I didn't have to suffer anymore. But even I knew that the factory my parents loved was something I needed to protect, so I continued to bear the pain. But I don't need to bear it anymore.
Wait a second. Calm down for me. You're getting so emotional now that you're making yourself look like the victim here.
I am not making myself look like the victim. I am the victim. And if you don't want to accept that, wait until you see all the audio and video recordings I've captured. For the past year that I've been married to you, I'll have everyone see just what kind of husband I have had to live with inside his sister's home.
Wait. Recordings? When did you start recording everything?
From the very start, Zane. I knew that there was something seriously wrong with you, and I didn't want to end up on the short end of the stick. And considering you never cleaned or anything, you never came across the microphones I placed, or the cameras. I was worried about your parents noticing, however, and that's why I was telling you not to let them move in with us. Having to go and recover all those recordings with them around all the time was tough for me. But thankfully, I was able to take my time and was able to get everything I needed out of that house before your sister started her plans of destroying the place.
Hey! Please don't tell me that you're gonna hand all of those recordings in, right?
I'm going to, no matter what. I hope you're able to tell just how bad things are going to be for you three now. And of course, I'm filing criminal complaints about you all, so expect the police to take part in the court cases later. Next time we talk face to face, let's make it about the divorce, though, more than anything else, all right?
Wait, please! I promise to let you leave me, just as long as you don't turn any of those recordings in. If you end up doing that to me, then my life as a whole is going to be ruined! I'll lose the ability to go anywhere with my life!
These are all the things you willingly did to me, so sucks to suck.
I'm so sorry, Marley. I'm so very sorry for what I've done. I had so much going on in my life and never had enough time to think it all through, leading to me taking everything out on you at home.
Oh?
Forgive me, please. I'm being honest about this.
I will never forgive you. Being married to you for the past year has really been a total waste of that year for me because every single day was crappy. All because you went and held my father's company by its throat, threatening him with taking it away unless he gave me to you as a wife. And because of you, the trust that had existed between your uncle's company and my parents' factory was destroyed. What you did to everyone is going to stick around in everyone's minds for a very long time. And it will never, ever be forgiven by me.
Come on now, Marley! It's a fact that I really did fall in love with you at first sight. I really loved you as my wife and have never wanted you to go. I love you, Marley. Please trust me.
If that's actually the truth, you've only made everything that's happened even more unfathomable and horrendous.
How dare you!
I told you to stop acting like the victim, right? I'm going to send you and your parents to hell to regret what you've all done to me for an eternity. It feels so good to be taking care of all this trash as a piece of trash myself. I am laughing my ass off over it. After that, Zane ended up being forced out of the company and became unemployed. Then, both him and his parents were all forced out of Faye's house and were then considered homeless. At that same time, I took all the evidence I had to the police and made my case against all three of them that they had abused me. And not too long after, during a court hearing, the judge ruled that all three of them would be charged with domestic violence against me and would have to spend years in prison for it. The company that Zane had been the CEO of was also taken over by a new man. And he took action against Zane with the help of the shareholders and sued him for embezzling company money. He already had a lot of debt to begin with, but now he'll have to fight for his life when he gets out of prison, as there is no way he's making it without at least 80 hours of work per week. Thank God I got divorced from him when I did, or else all of that would be just as much of a problem for me as it is for him. As for my life after the divorce, I went and took my house back from my parents and then proceeded to cut ties to them. I understand that they wanted to protect their company and factory, but they wasted a year of my life away sending me to be with Zane, and I will never forgive them for that. I want to keep a lot of distance from all of those people, my family and Zane's. So I found myself a new job working for Faye, where I get to leave town every couple of weeks to either head across the United States or head overseas. While hoping to find myself a new man that will actually treat me as his equal, I'll be saving up money and enjoying my life of freedom.